How's it going, guys? My name is Damien. Welcome back to my weekly discussion slash review of the Vampire Diaries, where we talk about the show and the couples and all of that good stuff. So let's get right into it. I imagine if you're watching this video, you've already seen the episode. I don't think people really would be clicking if they hadn't seen the episode just yet, so spoiler alert just in case. But let's get right into it and talk about the big highlights of this episode. The core realistically of this episode was Bonnie. She was the anchor around all the characters, even Kai, I guess. And it kind of bothers me because they just the way the episodes are written, it feels like there's no continuity sometimes with the core plot, and it's like Bonnie just is ignored for like a few episodes, and then all of a sudden she's acknowledged again. Jeremy vanishes and then conveniently shows up only to get posted off to art school, it looks like, in the next episode. So I understand why he's leaving, though. The show is wrapping up and it's going into its final season next year. The views, or the ratings rather, are really, really down, and they continue to go down, and it's just not realistic, I guess, to keep a lot of guys on the show, especially when you don't have a strong plot or a strong reason for these supporting characters to be there. So that will make things interesting because it will when Bonnie does return, it will leave her character open relationship wise. So if there are any Bonnie and Damon shippers out there, as unrealistic as I feel it is, I guess there's something to hope for if that is what you or that is the ship that you were really into. But the two core ships, like I said last week, are Damon and Elena and Stefan and Caroline. And we saw again a balanced set of scenes from both of them. I think they combined for at least 10 minutes of scenes. If you include the scenes with Damon and Elena where Kai is present or Jeremy or something like that, you're looking at maybe 7 minutes of scenes with Damon and Elena this episode. So it's great. We also saw Elena's declaration. You know, she like tends to make these every once in a while, but if there was any hope for Stefan and Elena, if anyone was hoping for that, it's over. I think the statement she made there pretty much solidified that thought process. It's done. So if you watch this show and you're hanging on to Stefan and Elena, it might be time to start watching something else. I have a show I could recommend to you. It's really old. There's only 4 seasons of it. It's called Everwood. And the reason I mention Everwood is because it was a really great drama, and I like the small town atmosphere. I also like the romance on it. But I mention it because the two main characters on there that I personally really enjoyed when I was 13, I started watching it, and I watched it all the way, I think, through high school. And those two characters, Amy and Ephraim, remind me a lot of Stefan and Caroline, at least in towards the end of their relationship on Everwood. They, I don't know, it just somehow they just seem to have similarities. Maybe I'm totally off, but Everwood was really great. So I do recommend you guys check that out. Regardless if you are Stefan Elena or not, it's a good show. But if you are Stefan Elena, you might want to stop watching this show because it's probably not going to be very enjoyable for you. So Stefan and Caroline, let's touch on that. There's not much to say about Damon and Elena. They had great scenes. They're officially together. Let's see where they go in the following weeks because what we've seen here today again is just nothing. There's nothing here that's groundbreaking. Nothing that's hasn't happened before. They've hooked up many times before. I don't want to see bed scenes. I don't want to see that. I want to see them talking, learning more about each other. That would be great. So hopefully we get to see that in coming weeks. That would be nice. Maybe a dinner. Still have yet to see this dinner. Maybe something else would be great. Any kind of date would be excellent. So can hope for that. Moving on to Stefan and Caroline. They are, I'll say this. I still believe they're forced, but they're doing a really good job of selling it. Paul Wesley and Candice Accola, I'm sure they probably had to sit down and say, hey, logic is out of the window. Let's just try to work with this and see what happens. But they're doing a pretty good job because I guess the more and more that I see them, it kind of feels like I'm starting to not necessarily believe in it, but you know, some people don't understand how I can even watch this show anymore. And I explain to them it's simple. I am at a state of acceptance with the way things are. I don't try to find logic in this show. I don't try to compare this show to Emmy Award winning TV shows that I watch. It's no Breaking Bad. It's no, House of Cards. But I watch it for what it is. It's just some silly fictional vampire show. That's how I have to look at it as a guy. I can't really be invested in a lot of things that's going on in this show. So, like a lot of the scenes in tonight's episode, I was just kind of zoning out, browsing the internet whilst it was going. I'm not really too focused on it, so I don't really expect too much. But Stefan and Caroline, Damon and Elena, that is what realistically keeps me watching. Because if they didn't really have relationships like that, I probably would not watch the show at all. No, not probably. I definitely wouldn't watch it at all. So Stefan and Caroline have been great so far, and they continue to have more scenes. I love their chemistry together. And next week, it's looking like maybe we'll get a kiss. If it happens, great. If not, um, I don't know, because I don't know where else we're gonna go with this. It looks like they're gonna be together, so it's I'm not super excited about it, but again, it's where the show is at, and hopefully they're good together. They've had a long build up. I think since throughout season 4, they've kind of been building towards it. So we will see just what ends up happening. But yeah, I thought it was a solid episode. Kai kind of just playing both sides, doing his thing, and the lack of acknowledgement of Bonnie in general is really frustrating to me. It's just annoying because she's done so much for them. I don't know. It's what it is, but hopefully she comes back soon, and I don't know who she's gonna have any kind of romantic connection with. Some people are gonna say Damon, but I just don't see how. It's never it has never been a triangle between him and Bonnie and Elena, so it's hard to see them together in any way. That time they spent together in that little bubble trap there, it never really nothing ever developed from that, so it's hard for me to see them as anything more than friends, but I guess we can see a lot can change. So Elena was pretty much set to be with Stefan, and then out of nowhere, bam, sire bond, vampire, and then end of Stefan and Elena. So it can happen in one episode, I guess, if they really, really wanted it to. They could have Damon forget that he ever met Elena, and have Elena forget that she ever loved him again, and then we'd be back to square one. So we'll see what happens. Let me know what you guys think about it. And as far as Enzo is concerned, my God, this guy is literally, he is the worst character on this show. You can literally see that there's no motivation behind this guy that actually makes any sense. He's just doing things just because it just doesn't make any sense. He's just gonna do something. He's so irrelevant. I don't even really acknowledge him or Matt. The two of them need to just be fired from the show. Seriously, they don't command the screen. They just have no purpose. They just exist and show up whenever the plot is convenient. So I have a personal just hatred for Enzo because if it was one thing if he was doing these things and there was an actual reason behind it, but he just feels so irrelevant these days. But what can you do? Jeremy's gone, he's there, Matt's there, minimal screen time for all three of them. It's what it is. The four characters that get the screen time, we all know the two relationships on the show are the anchor. So let me know what you guys think. Comment down below. As always, subscribe if you're new, and leave a like on the video. Support the channel. Check out my other two reviews at the end. Check out my other videos on the channel if you'd like. Go to my clips channel if you want to see any of the scenes that I post weekly for Arrow, Flash, and the Vampire Diaries. And I'll see you guys maybe on Saturday for another video. Good night.